All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dive into the story of a really powerful but often overlooked kingdom from ancient Assam. We're talking about the Varman Dynasty. It's an incredible tale of kings, of conflict, and a legacy that was, well, almost completely lost to time, until one tiny little object changed absolutely everything.
So, that leads us to the big question, the one that really drives this whole story. How on earth did a 1,300-year-old clay seal, just a piece of clay buried in some ruins, end up rewriting the history of an entire kingdom? How is that even possible? And here it is. This is it. This is the actual artifact at the very heart of our story. It was dug up way back in 1917 by an archaeologist named Dr. David B. Spooner. And I know it might not look like much at first glance, but trust me, this small piece of baked clay is a direct, tangible link to an incredibly powerful king and his massive kingdom.
Okay, so to really get a handle on why this seal is such a big deal, we've got to rewind. I mean, way back to the very beginning. We need to understand how this dynasty was even forged in the first place.
So let's set the scene. We're in the 4th century AD, in a kingdom called Kamarupa, which is basically modern-day Assam. And the guy who started it all, the founder, the Adipurusha, as he was known, was a ruler named Pushyavarman. He's the one who kicked the whole thing off, laying the foundation for a line of kings that would last for 300 years.
And this family tree, wow, it really shows you just how stable this dynasty was. I mean, look at it. It's a direct line of succession, right from Pushyavarman all the way down through the generations. Power was passed directly from father to son, and that kind of stability was absolutely crucial. It's how they built and kept their strength for over 3 whole centuries. But of course, it wasn't all smooth sailing. Not by a long shot. I mean, like any great dynasty, the Varmans faced huge challenges. They had constant threats from these really ambitious neighbors. The road to power was, well, it was a tough one. Okay, take a look at this map, because the geography here is key. You can see Kamarupa, the Varman kingdom, smack dab in the middle of a super complex political mess. They were literally surrounded by rivals, and you see that region, Pushyavarman, it was constantly being fought over. It was, for sure, a tough neighborhood to live in.
And that pressure? It was just relentless. It never stopped. Towards the later years of the dynasty, you had King Sustatita Varman fighting off an attack from Mahasenagupta. Then, his own son, Supratistita Varman, had to face an even bigger threat from this really powerful king of Gada named Sashanka. The kingdom was literally being squeezed from all sides.
But it's into this exact pressure cooker of a world that our main character finally steps onto the stage. We're talking about a leader who wouldn't just meet these challenges head-on, but would push the Varman dynasty to its absolute peak. His name was Bhaskaravarman. Now, this guy wasn't just another king in the line of succession. No way. He earned the title Sreshta Raja, which means the greatest ruler. And that title, that tells you everything you need to know about the kind of impact he had. He was a total game-changer for this dynasty.
You see, Bhaskaravarman was a master strategist. He looked at this complicated political world around him and knew exactly what to do. He identified his #1 enemy, Sashanka of Gauda. Yep, the same king who had fought his father. So what's his move? He forms an alliance with another major player, King Harsha of Kannauj, who just so happened to also be Sashanka's rival. Talk about a brilliant political move. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, right?
And what's so cool about this period is that we don't just have to rely on, official royal records. We actually have an incredible eyewitness account from a really famous traveler who visited right in the middle of Bhaskaravarman's golden age. So, in the year 643 AD, the famous Chinese monk and traveler Xuanzang makes this epic journey. He travels from the great Buddhist university at Nalanda all the way to Kamarupa. And he didn't just show up, he was personally invited by Bhaskaravarman. And lucky for us, his super detailed journals give us this priceless, first-hand look at what the kingdom was actually like.
And the very first thing that seemed to blow Xuanzang away was just the sheer size of the kingdom. He measured it as being 10,000 li around. Now, what does that mean?
That's about 1,700 miles in circumference. So we're not talking about some small little regional power here. This was a massive, sprawling empire.
And Zhuangzang's account, it just paints such a vivid picture. He gets into all these details. He notes that the kingdom produces stuff like jackfruit and coconut. He describes the people as being of small stature with a dark yellow complexion. He lays out the geography, saying it bordered China and Burma, and even included parts of modern-day Bihar, Bengal, and Tripura. And he also mentions it was filled with many devas or Hindu temples.
Okay, and this is where our story really comes full circle. Bhaskaravarman's incredible power, his smart alliances, the sheer grandeur of his kingdom, believe it or not, all of it connects right back to that one little piece of clay we started with.
So, to really understand his status, get this story. There was this huge religious assembly held by his ally King Harsha. And at this event, King Harsha dressed up as Indra, the king of the gods. But Bhaskaravarman, he was given the honor of dressing as Brahma, the creator god himself. You don't do that for a junior partner or a lesser king. That is a massive sign of respect between two equals. Ultimately, his reputation grew so large, he became known as the King of Eastern India. He was even called the Second Brihaspati, which is a title comparing him to the super-wise advisor to the gods. I mean, that just cements his legacy as one of the most important, most significant rulers of his entire era.
And so, here it is. We've solved the mystery. That clay seal, the one found hundreds of miles away in the ruins of Nalanda, it was the official royal seal of none other than Kumar Bhaskaravarman. It was most likely attached to a letter, maybe a decree, that he sent to the monastery. It's the undeniable physical proof of his power, his influence, and his diplomatic reach far, far beyond his own borders.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, if the story of an entire 300-year-old dynasty can be brought to light by one single piece of clay, what other forgotten histories are out there just waiting for us to find them, hidden in plain sight inside some small, overlooked object?